Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Homestead-Miami Speedway, the last race in the High Octane Series season here for ARCS on Saturday nights. Welcome you to ABN Studios coverage of the finale, the ARCS Miami 240. 5 drivers with one last opportunity to go for a championship here on Saturday nights here in 2024. It's going to be an exciting time period that is to be guaranteed. The question is who's going to come up with their head held high at the end of tonight's contest. For everyone tuning in, I'm Carmen, Sienna. We appreciate you spending your Saturday evening with us here on ABN as action gets ready to play through here tonight. Again, 5 drivers coming into this race with one opportunity, and that is an attempt to go for broke, to become champion. Kevin Feemster, Chris Fleming, David Wright, Colin McDonough, Elris George, the top 5 that'll fight for a championship tonight. It's a very interesting, very unusual group compared to how we started this season. Consistency has been key for all 5 of them from start to finish here tonight. The points as they run up on your screen. Kevin Feemster enters with a 2-point advantage over Chris Fleming, David Wright, Colin McDonough, Elris George, all within fingertips reach as well. Going into this race, the most important of the bunch here tonight. And again, it is not an easy consideration in the slightest. This is an event that could easily turn upside down in a heartbeat. Drivers will have to keep their head on a swivel, keep themselves composed, and ready to go for tonight's event. Qualifying is currently underway, so we're going to have a really good idea as to who's going to enter this race with the best momentum of the bunch. Right now, currently, it is Bryn Roberts top of the board. Zach Millett, another new driver to the series, here to play a little bit of spoiler, make it even tougher for those a little bit further down the order from getting those points needed to usurp Chris Fleming and Kevin Feemster in what is a 2-person fight with David Wright as the dark horse and McDonough and Elris George needing a lot of help on the strategy front here tonight. And you look at the who's who of drivers that are outside looking in. Austin Mongo knocked out by 3 points. Josh Gaiman out after winning 2 of those 3 races in the round of 10. Cody Pennell missing a race really killed his chances. Same with Brandon Fetterplace and James Kerr, who missed 2 races there as well. That makes things a lot more difficult going into this event. But again, qualifying currently underway here in Miami. And we'll bring up the results of that here momentarily. It's going to be, again, a wild ride here in Florida to end out the season. 14 drivers making themselves known, with the addition of Thomas Andrews as well to the bunch. You've got Bradley Wright, David Wright, Donald Ray, Cody Pennell, Dale Markowski, Chris Fleming, Nick Pressey. It's a pretty wild bunch here that we've got here in Miami. Again, Bryn Roberts, the provisional pole sitter. It looks like to be confirmed as pole sitter going into this race. Zach Millett's already run his qualifying laps. Same with Nicholas Pressey going into this event. Everyone's run all their lap times already here today. I'll pull up the times on the side of your screen right now. Some drivers just kind of running some extra practice laps to get ready. Zach Millett, one of them, trying to get ready to go for this race. That Toyota Tundra slated to start on the front row for the ARCS Miami 240. Just kind of waiting out practice here. Zach Millett in that 15 car decides he's going to try the Homestead road course layout that we've used in the Champ Car World Series. Nicholas Pressey also right now running laps, getting himself up to speed here in that number 94 machine, that Ford F-150 on track. And you'll notice as the fields kind of spread out, those in orange on the leaderboard are those battling for a championship. Chris Fleming currently the best qualified of the bunch by a decent margin. 2 points is the difference right now for Fleming. 3 position gain makes him champion. You see that gap between Fleming and Feimster in 11th. He's going to try to maintain that here tonight. We know how good Feimster is under long run paces. We're expecting a lot of those here tonight in this 100 lap event. Qualifying done and dusted. It is Bren Roberts and Zach Millett at the front of the field. Again, very important indication to know here tonight. Fleming and Feimster, those top 2 separated by 2 points. Feimster has tiebreaker, race wins. Chris Fleming does not have a race win to his record here. David Wright looking just 5 points adrift. Again, would lose the tiebreaker to Feimster, really needs to kind of get a spot above that. Needs to gain 6 points on Feimster to take the crown. Colin McDonough needing 10 points. Irish George needing 13 points to become champion for the first time in his career in ARCS. And for everyone tuning in, we appreciate you spending your time here on ABN as the track once again comes to life. This is warm-up underway now. Everyone's last chance to dial in their trucks for tonight's contest. With this being their last chance to step aside, this will be our chance to step aside and get ready to go for this race. We'll cover the starting grid when we get ready for the green flag here in Miami. And for everyone tuning in, my name is Carmen Sienna. We appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple minutes here on ABN. Showtime here in Miami as we get ready to go for this event. It's time to go over the starting grid here in Miami. Bren Roberts, Zach Millett, they will be the ones to get us started here in tonight's event. And it's going to be an absolutely wild ride for all of them here tonight. As it looks like we had a technical issue there. Whoops. See if we can get that all brought up. But it's going to be Bren Roberts and Zach Millett front of the field here tonight. Again, it's going to be a wild time before this race. You see that 84 truck, Bren Roberts, that now he's made a couple starts in the High Octane Series. He's been competitive in all of them so far, but we know also how good Zach Millett has been across his ARCS career as well. It'll be fun to watch him finally race here on Saturday nights as well. Nick Pressing, Chris Fleming in the second row as well, as the field gets ready to get up and running in Miami. See if we've got it this time. There we go. Got the board up and running here. It's Bren Roberts and Zach Millett, row 1, row 2, and you'll see the first of the 5 championship contenders in row 2 with Chris Fleming on the outside of Nicholas Pressing. Row 3, Dale Markowski on the inside, Cody Pinnell on the outside lane here tonight. Donald Ray in the number 5 at Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet alongside the Monster Energy number 12 of Ryan Pinnell. Row 5 of this 7-row field, it's Bradley Wright and David Wright, not related. They'll tussle it out from the 5th row, 9th and 10th, here in Miami. Just outside the top 10, Kevin Feemster enters as points leader, but currently losing the championship battle. He's got to crawl from 11th on the grid alongside Thomas Andrews, Elris George, and Colin McDonough. They'll round out this field with the most work to do in the points and in the field on the last row. We're glad you joined us here for the last race of 12 in the High Octane Series season. I'm Carmen Sienna here on ABN, and it's almost showtime here in Miami. The last time we go green, the ARCS Miami 240 is underway. Further back in the field, it has been a madhouse and is expected to stay that way for a little bit. Progressively banked track means that multiple lanes are in play. Millett took the lead away from Bren Roberts, but Roberts trying to really fight that back on the inside lane. Zach Millett right there, front and center on your screen. That 15 truck is in the mix. Bren Roberts sitting in second place. Gonna try to recapture that lead. He did not lead the first lap. That belonged to Millett. And Nick Pressey sitting up in third. Champ Car World Series race winner on the ABN side of things. Opened the Champ Car Series season with the win at Michigan. Trying to do the same here to end off the High Octane Series season in Miami, sitting third. Chris Fleming's dropped down a spot from 4th to 5th. Keep an eye again, it's those in orange championship competitors here tonight. There is a stage break, a competition caution on lap 20. No points are scored in the stage breaks, competition cautions. Gives everyone a chance though to reset and get ready to go for the second stanza of this race. Running on board here with Kevin Feemster. Started this race in 11th, that's where he sits, trying to find fresh real estate as he battles with Elris George to his left and David Wright just up the road. Everyone trying to gravitate around the racetrack here from the apron depth to the wall. You saw where Feemster preferred turns 3 and 4. Tried 1 and 2 there on the inside. Still not happy as he tries to find the balance in this car. So this competition caution on 20 will be a welcome opportunity for an adjustment for the 17 car, who's really being pressured by Arvis George. Arvis George doing a fantastic job just applying that pressure. Already up one spot, got around Colin McDonough and Thomas Andrews, who's dropped down to the very back of the field. That Blue Deuce, number 2 Ford F-150, right now sitting in 14th, kind of just letting things sit out a little bit. Last time fans of ABN saw Thomas Andrews on Saturday nights, it was the S&S Series, Gen 6 competition for ARCS that fires up again later this month. Meanwhile, 3 cars up in the group. Cressy battling with Roberts and Millett in this 3-car fight. Trucks pretty well on an island right now at the front, but it is a pretty frantic fight between not only these 3 but those behind, with Cody Pennell sitting in that 4th position ahead of Chris Fleming. But they continue to waltz away here. Starting lap 9 of 100 here. Again, competition caution on lap 20. We'll pause the field and give us a second to reset and get ready for the remaining 80 laps of this contest. Trying to defend, trying to really prevent Bryn Roberts from getting any slipstream there. Roberts very well unfazed at this point early on in this race. Everyone's still figuring out what they've got. And this gives you a really good chance to sort of understand how the tires are going to wear. Practice can be quite frantic as he chases lap times and just kind of show force in that. But now it's time to get serious. This is where you really don't have a chance to back out and change things here. Fleming in 5th. Bradley Wright's got ahead of Ryan Fennell in that 6th spot. Fennell goes up top. Bradley Wright to the bottom. There's Donald Ray, that 5 car in the mix as well. And Dale Markowski. Zach Millett currently leading the way over Bryn Roberts and Nicholas Cressy, as he has the entire race so far. Leading lap 12, he's led every lap so far. Over a pole sitter, Bryn Roberts, who has been frequently and increasingly under attack from the 94 of Nick Cressy, who's going to sail it into turns 1 and 2 and take 2nd place away. Bryn Roberts did not fight that at all. Very much in the understanding of where he sits right now and what he needs to do to get ready for the 2nd half of this race. So Roberts not flustered or concerned at this point. Almost tagged the wall there for a moment. Seems like the tires on that 84 car have begun to fall away to start lap 14. Cody Pennell, that 28 truck, sitting and waiting. is pulled away from Chris Fleming. Chris Fleming, though, under threat from Donald Ray. And more company comes with that 5 car. That's David Wright in the mix as well, and Ryan Pinelk, who continues to fall backwards a little bit behind now Feefster and Norris George, who's now in the top 10. Donald Ray up there against the fence. Everyone's sort of gravitated away from that white line, more up the middle in the top upper lanes of the racetrack. David Wright, though, still making that inside lane work. You can still make it work. You got to save a little bit more tire to do so, though, and that's sort of where David Wright's MO comes into play. And Donald Ray's going to chop him off at the source into turn 1. 51 of Bradley Wright also shadowing here in the same lane as Chris Fleming. Right now, Kevin Feemster's best friend is that 5 car of Donald Ray and the 48 of David Wright. Reel in that 38 and pull him back in. You cannot give Chris Fleming any space at all. Inside lanes prevailing here. Donald Ray will get ahead of the 38 of Fleming out of turn 2. Down the back straightaway they go into 3 and 4. Fleming boxed in a little bit, could not get down in front of David Wright, who got right to the quarter panel. And now you got Bradley Wright on the far outside, just looking a half lane higher out of turn number 4. Bradley's going to change lanes here, get to the bottom of the racetrack behind David Wright. David Wright drives up the racetrack just a little bit, but forces Fleming way higher up the racetrack that time. And David Wright's going to drive out of turn 2 and clear himself on Fleming, but now Fleming's got a chance to run to the inside lane and take that spot right back. Oh, wow, David Wright just drove. He has got way better middle of the corner speed than Fleming does. A little loose there, but outdrove the 38 big time. He was not able to, he was not role versed in running the inside lane. David Wright knew how to run the middle, and Bradley Wright's going to try to pick up the pieces. We're on lap 19 of 100, end of next lap, into lap 20. The competition caution comes out, and it'll freeze the field, give everyone a chance to get some fresh tires, reset, figure out what they've learned, and move forward with the remaining 80 laps in the season here in the High Octane Series. Donald Ray tied the wall just a smidge there, out of 4, to start lap 20. White flag is out here in this first stanza. The next flag we see will be the caution flag. Millet has waltzed away for the moment, away from Nick Pressey, who's still battling with Bryn Roberts in second place. Yellow flag will come out here to end this first stanza. The competition yellow. Allow the field to regroup here from Millet all the way down to McDonough in 14th place. Thomas Andrews, who was down in 14th at one point, made his way up to 10th place in those 20 laps. So he was figuring it out and picking up cars left, right, and central. A little bit of the driver's audio there as everyone gets ready to go. Not a whole lot of audio there. Been a very quiet session because that driver's radio's been on all race and they just haven't said anything. That's sort of just giving you an idea of sort of what these drivers were dealing with. Everyone was very focused. So now we get to see everyone come down pit lane for the first time for very needed tires and fuel. See if we can get the correct pit. There we go. Correct camera there. Everyone on pit lane. 2 cars stayed out. Elvis George and Colin McDonough stayed out. Millet got out pretty quickly there. Bryn Roberts in pit lane for a longer period of time here. With him, Ryan Pennell, and Bradley Wright. It seems like they've got some damage that they're trying to repair here. At this point, all of them are approaching 30-second pit stops. Not a good look. Elvis George, your current race leader, under caution here. It's expected he may come down pit lane. Both him and McDonough. You do not want to leave yourself exposed quite like this, and indeed they do come down pit lane as expected. So it will be Zach Millett, Nick Pressey, Cody Pennell, and Donald Ray, your top 4. More cars still in pit lane. That's Ryan Pennell leaving pit lane. Bradley Wright leaving pit lane now. Bryn Roberts just now leaving pit lane. And Bradley Wright staying on the lead lap, but they had some significant damage to be on pit lane for well over a minute for all 3 of them. They'll rejoin at the very back of the field here. Hopefully they've gotten enough of their stuff fixed to be able to be competitive here in this second stanza. Because now the only thing you're going to really get out of this is a caution. If you can get a caution, that's kind of your only way to get anything else. Green flag flies and away we go once again from our first caution for that competition yellow on lap 20. It's Millett, Pressey, Pennell, Ray, Markowski, and David Wright, your top 6. Out in front, Pressey in second, Cody Pennell up to third, with the demotion really of Bryn Roberts down the order. He's already back up into the 8th spot. He's gotten around Kevin Feemster in this fight. Thomas Andrews sitting right there in the 10th spot as well. That blue deuce, more of a white deuce at this point with that white, Miller Lite Chevrolet Silverado. Ryan Pennell just behind him and in the 11th spot. Then it's Bradley Wright there in 12th. They've both gotten ahead of McDonough and Elvis George, who came down pit lane at the very last opportunity. Millett leads the way. And then it's Pressey and Pennell still. The top 3 beginning to separate themselves once again from the 4th place car, which is now Donald Ray. keep an eye on this 84 trying to charge forward. Fleming really struggled at the end of that first run. Bren Roberts seemed to have found a little bit of steam in that first run at the end. Roberts picked off Fleming pretty easily there. Now trying to work on the 33 of Dale Markowski. Staying at the back of that 33 car. As they head into turns 1 and 2. Roberts making some pretty good headway as far as recovering some of the positions that he lost. It's Toyota versus Chevrolet there. Fleming sees the open door, tries to follow through. Right now, Feemster's champion. And it's not by much. It puts David Wright. David Wright would be level with Fleming. Both of them would be 1 point behind Feemster. So tight numbers here. You know, it's important to note here, looking at Colin McDonough and Elvis George, I don't know what their thought processes were here. They went down pit lane, and instead of taking regular service, they tried taking repairs on the final lap of caution. Because when they came down pit lane, that was the field coming to 1 to green. And they were both in pit lane for 51 seconds. And now they sit in danger of going a lap down here. I don't know what the thought process was to that. Leads the way. Nick Pressey is second away in second place. Added Cody Pennell and Donald Ray, your top 4. Pretty even spacing there. Once you get beyond David Wright there, so the top 5 is where you start seeing a little bit more competition here. Bren Roberts already up to the 6th spot. He got around Markowski, so did Fleming. But Markowski not going down without a fight. Right now as it sits, tie game between the 38 and the 17. Between Fleming and Feemster. Markowski. Separation between the two. Markowski, a little bit of latency is going to make it a little bit harder for Feemster to deal with. And you're seeing that Markowski being that danger to Feemster has really slowed him down a little bit. Looking at this battle as Fleming takes the advantage from Kevin Feemster, as Feemster under threat really from Tommy Andrews at this point. To kind of break down the point standings here just a little bit for you, it is pretty much 40, 39, 38 all the way down. You got bonus points for leading a lap, leading the most laps, and in pole position. But doesn't really matter too much to our championship contenders right now. David Wright, it would be helpful if he could get some laps led here, because that would make him a little more viable as a threat here. Feimster right now sitting in 9th place would score 32 points. Fleming scoring 7th place points at 34. David Wright would score 36 points. So right now the top three in the championship separated by 1 point as things sit. Feimster under threat once more from Andrews, who's got a really good run on him here. Gonna take a peek to the inside. This could be a really pivotal move later on in this race if it happens again. Feimster just does not have that Ford underneath of him, that 17 truck, to really try to hold on to these tires long term. We've only really had, since the competition caution, we're coming to 15 laps of green flag racing on the flip side of that competition yellow. And it seems like he's struggling more now than he was before. We've had less time on these tires. Zach Millett has completely just waltzed away. Nick Presti and Cody Pennell will be battling for 2nd place here. And for those not familiar with Zach Millett, from everything he did in the ARCS High Cup Series, or in ARX, or in any of the other ARCS series, Zach Millett, this is his MO. Waltz away and win. Stepped into the final race of the season to do so. Same with Nicholas Pressey and Thomas Andrews. Neither of those three started a race before tonight. They'd come in and make this interesting. It's what could have been for Cody Pennell. Got wins in bunches to kick off the season. Missed a couple races late in the season. Missed out on the championship 5. And here comes Cody Pennell to the inside of Nick Pressey. 28 in the inside. Following along with Pennell now as he goes for 2nd place and grabs it. But Pressey's going to have an immediate response. Immediate response there for the 94 as he sends it right to the inside through 3 and 4. Cody Pennell will not let it go easily though, and these two, as they battle, will step even further adrift of the 15 of Zach Millett. Got clear, he may be able to stay clear, and if he can, try to close in on that 15 truck, which is going to be hard to do, but not impossible with the amount of time left. He's got to work on it. Millett has the gracious advantage of clean real estate in front of that 15 truck. Getting around McDonough, who's gone a lap down here. Gap stabilized between 1st and 2nd as Pressey's fallen a 2nd adrift of the 28. A little further down the road, this is David Wright looking for 4th place. Right now, it's a 3-way tie for the championship. Feimster has tiebreaker. This past year, if David Wright's able to complete it, would put him in the championship lead. And we'll talk about a whirlwind fall of 2024 for David Wright, HTL Champ Car Light Series champion. First open wheel champion in HTL history. He did that a couple months ago. Now he's trying to take a crown in a very similar looking Budweiser Chevrolet. Trying to do so here in the High Octane Series. Again, this is a position that if he's able to hold on to it as things stand, makes him championship leader in the final race. And that's Nick Pressey just up the road too. So this is swinging very heavily into the hands of David Wright, who has a really good chance now of going for the championship. Remember, right now, Fleming and Feimster are tied. They are now tied for second place. Pressey, who's falling backwards more and more, under threat from the 42 at David Wright, who has a 1-point lead. If he can clear the 94, make that a 2-point lead in the Drivers' Championship standings. That's Colin McDonough just up the road. Donald Ray comes down pit lane. So pit stops are open. Cody Pennell, Donald Ray, Bren Roberts all down pit lane together. Really big stuff there. David Wright seemed to surge strongly at the end of this run. See if he comes down this lap or not. You'd have to imagine the 94 will be one of those that come down pit lane pretty quickly. And we have to imagine the 15 of Zach Millett would also come down pit lane quickly. Yes, indeed that's the case. David Wright will come down too. And so will Nick Pressey. Really hot there for Pressey, but he gets it. Dale Markowski, now a race leader in this event, the 33 car. And then you have the 2 of Thomas Andrews, who has also stayed out on the track. As things stand, so did Ryan Pennell. So the top 3 all stayed out here. Markowski tried to get down to the bottom of the racetrack because he's coming down pit lane this time, and you have to believe so will everyone else that stayed out. Ryan Pennell will also come down pit lane. Whoa! What happened there with Bren Roberts, who came to a slide through turn 4? That was a wild run. We want to talk about wheeling and dealing. That's exactly what Bren Roberts did. Bradley Wright coming out of pit lane. So is Kevin Feimster, who's right there in the picture. Again, this will sort back in Feimster's favor at the moment because of the drivers coming out of pit lane now. Markowski, Andrews, and Pennell. Feimster was struggling mightily, especially with the 33 of Markowski. He'll end up ahead of him here. So Feimster swings back into favor here as championship leader with that gain of position. He gained it on Bradley Wright, but did not get ahead of Markowski. Interesting enough, there he goes. So now it's firmly in the hands of Feimster now, sitting in 8th place. But Markowski and Bradley Wright were a lot better on older tires as that run went along. Feimster's got to figure that out quickly. He's got 2 more tire stints here. 1 more pit stop in this race, realistically, to make things happen. Millett lost a lot of time to Cody Pennell. That 1 lap difference in tires shaved off half that gap, and from about 3 seconds to almost 1.5. It's sitting at 1.8 at the moment, and it is not really increasing all that much. So Cody Pennell's going to try to keep him honest. As Feimster now sits once again at the front of the championship order, but his biggest threat has 100% turned to David Wright. Best of the 3 main championship contenders. When it came down the tires late in the run, Chris Fleming struggled a lot. So did Kevin Feimster. especially when you look at Bradley Wright and Dale Markowski and Thomas Andrews, he was surging forward as well. It'd be very important for Dale Wright to get ahead of Donald Ray and be able to stay ahead of him on this run. 1.5 is the gap. Nick Presley sitting in 5th. A little bit better on the start here of this tire run. But it's how you finish the tire run, and you're going to need to know that at the end of this race too. Pretty wide open fight as things stand, and this is going to help Feimster a lot, at least in the interim phase. Cressy goes up to 4th place. The more that these two fight, the more that Donald Ray has a chance to pull away. Good run through the corners here. Cressy defended well. David Wright sitting in the 5th spot at the moment. Just ahead of Chris Fleming. Kevin Feimster sitting on to that 8th spot, trying to hold on to it for dear life here. Then, again, this works out in his favor. He's got tiebreaker over Chris Fleming due to race wins this season. Fleming has not a race win this season. Only has a couple podiums. It's been consistency that's really helped out the 38 camp so far this season. We're going to look at how the season shook out here so far. John Hagan won at Daytona. Noah Belleville won at Dover. Josh Gaiman won his first of 4 races at Kansas, backed it up at Richmond. Then it's Toby Estes, Noah Belleville, John Hagan, Noah Belleville, Del Markowski, Josh Gaiman with his 3rd and 4th wins going into this race. See, Chris Fleming got his first podium here in the playoffs. Finished 3rd last time out 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. Back just all the races here. Fleming's 3rd place. Again, a very rare result there for the 38 camp, and even especially tough given the circumstances here. Feimster got a 3rd. His first podium of the season came at Watkins Glen. That was the round that Toby Estes won. That was a fun race. Another 3rd place at Talladega. And you start looking at the nuance there. 3rd in a row for Kevin Feimster, 3rd place at Michigan. So results-wise, just not stacking up in Fleming's favor as it sits in this tiebreaker. 3 podiums to 1. And then Feimster 2nd place at Lucas Oil Raceway. Best result would count there, and that 2nd place really kind of sets him above Fleming at this point. And then Feimster backed it up with another 2nd place finish at Bristol. And that was where the playoffs began. The round of 10 began. You go to Rockingham. Feimster finished 5th. Fleming 11th there. Obviously, talked about Vegas last time out 2 weeks ago. That was when Fleming got his first result, his first podium. And leads us to tonight. So 5 podiums to 1, 2 seconds and 3 thirds for Kevin Feemster puts him in the tiebreaker position as things run. And a night where Zach Millett has dominated as he normally does. The conversation is about everyone but the race winner. It's about the championship battle after 12 rounds. Ironically, the 12 championship rounds is how it comes down here. And here comes Bradley Wright looking to the inside. Didn't go for it. But Bradley Wright on a massive charge at the moment. 2 trucks a lap down. ARCS George the first. Colin McDonough just ahead of this group, the second. It's a tight fight here between Fleming, Roberts, Feemster, Bradley Wright, and Dale Markowski, and Tommy Andrews, who's also in this group. Ryan Fennell on an island sitting in 12th. And then obviously the top 5 a little bit further up the road here. Here comes Bradley Wright to the inside lane. The 51 truck looking for his chance to go through and make his way towards the top 5 if he can. Bren Roberts now the next target for him. And that hurts Feemster because now Fleming's got the advantage by 1 point. Make no mistake about it, this will be a 1-point championship contest as Bradley Wright tags the wall just a little bit there in 3 and 4. This is going to be a 1-point championship fight. It's a matter of who's going to have that 1-point advantage. And really, it's hard to figure that out, who's going to have that advantage right now. Because as it sits now, Feemster's in 3rd in points. Because David Wright would get by him right now as things sit too. And Tommy Andrews is going to make it even worse for Feemster. David Wright needs to gain he needs Fleming to lose a little bit more is what he needs. He's on too much of an island right now with less than 35 laps to go. If David Wright's going to have a go for a contest, he's got to go and chase Donald Ray. He's going to reel him in and take him down here. And that's what he's doing right now. Less than half a second the gap. We know there's one more pit stop in this race. There is just one more pit stop in this race. Very straightforward. The strategy calls. The nuance is when do you come in for that final stop? I would not be surprised to see some drivers come in as soon as lap 75. Try to split the race down the middle. They pit on lap 20. Went to about lap 50. That's about 30 laps. You can shorten it up a little bit here, go to 75. And then you've got a 25 lap dash to the finish. I'm assuming if someone's going to be aiming for that 75 number, if not most of the field at this point. It just makes too much sense. Donald Ray, center of attention, sitting in 3rd place at the moment. That's ARCS George, the first car a lap down, just in front of him. And David Wright, currently 2nd in the championship, just behind him. Fleming is in a little bit more trouble here. Bradley Wright right there trying to catch up and make some inroads. Bradley Wright got checked up by the 39 of McDonough. Andrews making it up to 9th. Bren Roberts down to 10th. His tires falling off here. Again, he's got to make it 5 more laps. Bradley Wright going to try to reel back in the 38. Lost about a second there dealing with McDonough. And that is not what you want to see. That's not what you want to deal with. Donald Ray separated from David Wright by less than 3/10. ARCS George, a blessing to David Wright right now. But for how long? That is the quintessential question at this point with 30 laps to go. Again, Zach Millett has waltzed away. He has become a non-issue We know where his position is going to be as things stand, and that's number 1 in this race. But as a newcomer to the series, this is his first appearance in the high octane competition in 2024. He's a non-factor in any of the major points battles going on here. Several notable omissions in this, though. No Austin Mongold, who missed out by 3 points on making the top 5. No Connor Knowlton in this contest as well. No Matthew Kent in this contest as well. 3 faces we've seen more often than not this season. Not present tonight. No Josh Kamen either. Donald Ray looks to the inside, gets the inside of ARCS George. As pit stops for the last time loom in the very short distance. Cody Pennell sitting luxuriously in second place, pretty well behind Zach Millett, but about 2 seconds ahead of Donald Ray in this battle for 3rd place. Fleming's gotten around Nick Pressey, who's begun to fall off pretty massively here. So this helps Chris Fleming fantastically survive under duress and under pressure. He's come into his own the last couple races here. And he's picked the perfect time to do so. As Feemster's race sort of falls apart a little bit more. Down in 11th place, needs a miracle, needs a caution is what he needs. They are side by side in the 3 and 4, battling for 3rd place. ARCS George on the outside lane, David Wright in the middle. Donald Ray comes down pit lane as the race leader starts lap 75. This is right on cue for when we thought pit stops would begin. Cody Pennell, Donald Ray, Bryn Roberts, they are the first ones in. They will go to the finish from here. Millett now leads over David Wright and Chris Fleming. More pit stops incoming though. As ARCS George in the 40, a lap down. He will have to make a pit stop as well. So will Colin McDonough. Both the cars a lap down. Still in the same sequence. Just a blunder in their strategy call when we came back to racing from the competition caution. Here comes David Wright. And most of the field will come in spades. Kevin Feemster also making his way down pit lane. Ryan Pennell stays out an extra lap here. Not a race leader. Zach Millett was already across the line in pit lane. But number 12 machine, 11th in points, just barely missing out on the playoffs, that round of 10. Getting out front. Getting atop the scoreboards. One last time this season. And is he going to come down pit lane this time? Yes, he will. He absolutely will. David Wright, lean pit lane. That is really close there for Fleming as well. Over David Wright. And there is Bryn Roberts just coming around turn 2. This is going to be a very tight fight. Bradley Wright in the mix. Bryn Roberts ahead. Cody Pennell pretty far up the road. Donald Ray just up the road. Ryan Pennell did lead a lap in pit lane before Zach Millett got ahead of him. Donald Ray now up the road in 3rd. There's Bryn Roberts, David Wright, Bradley Wright. All of them around Chris Fleming here, who had a bobble coming out of pit lane, out of turn 2. That's huge, because that's a lot of positions lost on the exit of your money stop, which the pit stop itself was fantastic for Fleming. It was the pit exit that really caught 38 off guard. And now it puts David Wright back in the catbird seat with less than 25 laps to go as he tries to reel in Bryn Roberts, who has struggled on older tires all night long. David Wright's been a tire whisperer, a tire guru here in Miami. And he's going to try to do more of that again, while also staying ahead of Bradley Wright, who's also been doing a phenomenal job in this race, crawling up the order. Everyone crossing the line here. 22 laps to go, and Brent Roberts not fighting him too often much. He knows where where David Wright is right now. Said his fight was better served somewhere else in the contest. See Bradley Wright really charging up there on the 84, almost tagged the wall, it looked like, out of turn 4. Fleming is in a lot of trouble right now. David Wright, with 20 laps to go at the line, sits as championship leader. And it was a tight fight between all the top 3 with David Wright, Chris Fleming, and Kevin Feemster. Feemster came in as the championship leader by 2 points. It was 23:10 to 23:08 between Feemster and Fleming. David Wright entered with 23:05. David Wright now sitting in 4th place, ahead of Bradley Wright, ahead of Brent Roberts, has the advantage that he was looking for. He needed a 4-point advantage. He's got 5 on Fleming. He's got 6 on Feemster. And that's critical. That swings everything his way with a little buffer. The issue for Fleming is that Thomas Andrews has also been outstanding on the tire conservation. And he's just up the road in 8th place. Markowski in 7th could be a factor. Brent Roberts, he has struggled on the long run pace, and he's already showing signs of struggling early in this final stanza, so that could give a point back to Fleming and Feemster if they can get to him. Nick Pressey, who had a very disastrous pit stop, now sits in 12th, out of the conversation, and that shifts things as well in favor of the 42. But with Pressey also outside the top 10, Fleming and Feemster also gained a little bit there. Remember that Pressey was in between the 42 and the 38 under that last round of pit stops. So that doesn't really hurt Fleming or Feemster either, with where Pressey ended up there. Could have been up, crawling back a little bit of time, but still 5.25 away. Let's keep an eye on Bradley Wright, sitting in the center of your screen. David Wright, huge conversation and talking point here. Here's Brent Roberts and Dale Markowski. Closest fight right now, and Brent Roberts really struggling up the road, up the hill. Markowski's going to pick off one more spot here. 17 laps to go. And that's Tommy Andrews, the 2-car. Also working his way around. Brent Roberts is not having a great time as things sit. And again, just doing the math right now, David Wright right now leads the championship by 2 points. Fleming getting around Roberts does not change that. It changes it to 1 point, but it doesn't bring him level. He needs to find someone else to pass with 16 laps to go. And you see the 38 of Fleming closing in, goes to the inside. Roberts not really able to struggle and fight off much. You can tell that 84 car really struggling, especially in the outer lane there. Brent Roberts not happy at all with how that truck's feeling. Down the 9th, Fleming, he needs to pass either Bradley Wright, Dale Markowski, Tommy Andrews. He needs to pass one of them to have a chance to put this to tiebreaker. He needs to at this point. It is mission critical. Again, Fleming's best result, he's only done it once. That was a podium, a 3rd place in Las Vegas. We talked about Feemster's 5 podiums, 2 second-place finishes, and 3 third-place finishes. That would have put him best of the tiebreaker had it just been the 38 and the 17. But now the conversation has shifted away from Feemster altogether. And for Fleming, if he can get there, it's a little bit more favorable for him if he can get that tiebreaker to fall. David Wright has a third. That was at Richmond, but that's 1-1. Actually, no. There's another. So sorry. That was looking at Richmond again. I was sorry. My mistake on that one. Trying to look through because just David Wright's got a podium or got a third. Chris Fleming's got a third. If David Wright was able to get a third tonight, that would seal his tiebreaker up pretty nicely. Put a bow on it. I don't know what you would do tiebreaker wise if they have the same best result, other than it's who got it first, which would have been David Wright. Michigan versus Las Vegas, or not Michigan, Richmond versus Las Vegas. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that at all. That is not an enviable conversation to have here. This late in the race, coming to 11 laps to go. I'm just kind of browsing and perusing the order just to kind of see if there's anything that we have here. Oh, David Wright does have a second place. Second place, that was at Rockingham. That trumps Fleming's third place finishes, because Fleming finished third at Bristol and Las Vegas. David Wright's second at Rockingham gives him the advantage on the tiebreaker. Feebster has passed Bryn Roberts as well. That's big. That may draw that draws tiebreaker between Feebster and David Wright. Oh dear. Oh dear. And Feebster has tiebreaker here because he's got more podiums. He's got 2 seconds and 3 thirds. David Wright's got a second and a third. Fleming's got 2 thirds. None of them have race wins. I should probably note that in this sort of arrangement. No race wins between the championship contenders. This is where they should probably be at least partially grateful that Josh Gaiman's not in the mix. Josh Gaiman's 4 wins would put him square and shoulders above everyone else. So Feebster right now has tiebreaker over David Wright. David Wright needs to find a way around Donald Ray to beat champion. Feebster's passed everyone that he can pass. He has passed. Fleming is 4 seconds up the road. Fleming has caught up to Andrews to really try to apply the pressure here. That would be wild. If he passes Andrews and we have a 3-way tie, that'd be insane. And that's very, very, very possible. David Wright has really just kind of chased down Donald Ray here, less than half a second, coming to 5 laps to go. No, sorry, coming to 6 laps to go for them. Millett's already on the back straightaway. That's sort of just how his race has been on an island. Now coming to 5 laps to go. Battle for the third spot here, the last place on the podium, and potentially the championship deciding position for David Wright. Fleming, if he can get around Tommy Andrews, puts it at a 3-way tie as they currently sit between the 42, 17, and 38. A pass for position here for David Wright would make him championship leader once again with the laps ticking down, 4 to go. It's going to be a big moment for David Wright if he can find a way to make it happen. Donald Ray up near the wall. I think he tagged the wall there for a moment. And that could be the opening that David Wright needs. He's got to the quarter panel. As the laps tick away, everyone waits with held breath. David Wright's got a really good opportunity here. Drives to the outside. He uses all the racetrack out of 4. Trying to find a way around the 5 of Donald Ray. As Fleming still works on Tommy Andrews for that 7th spot. Ray up top, right on the bottom. They're coming to 2 laps to go. And this is the battle for the championship. If David Wright wants it all on his own, this is what he's got to do. He's got to pass the 5 of Donald Ray, who's not going to make it easy. 3 miles. That's all David Wright has. If he's going to make a pass, it's got to be in these next 3 miles. And it is a lot easier said than done. Gets right out of turn 2 so well, but it's 3 and 4 where he pays for it a little bit. White flag is in the air, 1 lap to go. Zach Millett leads by 7 seconds. He's going to be the race winner, undeniably. This is it for David Wright. He's got 1 more lap to try to do it. Zach Millett comes out of turn number 4. He will win here in Miami, the final race of the season. It's all about where David Wright and Donald Ray go. Donald Ray will hold him off to lead that battle for 3rd across the line. David Wright does what he could do to finish 4th. And further down the order, I believe you're looking at your new champion for the High Octane Series on tiebreaker. Kevin Feemster crosses the line in 9th with his 5 podiums in 2024's Season 2. We think that was enough on tiebreaker to clinch the championship. If it is, he's not going to celebrate. David Wright not going to celebrate either. I don't think anyone really knows what the point situation is going to look like here. Zach Millett will celebrate. We'll wait for an official word on how the championship stacked out here, because this will all be very interesting. None of the championship contenders led laps here, so there's no bonus points to be looking at for this group. It's just verifying the finishing positions in this competition and seeing how this all plays out. It's going to be so interesting to me to see how this all shakes up points position wise. I'm sure we'll get an answer on that momentarily. We could be looking at a tie-break situation, which would have to go to Kevin Feemster. 5 podiums to 2, 2 seconds and 2 thirds, and 3 thirds for Feemster, a 2nd and a 3rd for David Wright, and 2 thirds for Chris Fleming was what the podium positions looked like here. None of them had race wins to their credit in Season 2. See, David Wright has not completely left his truck yet, sort of holding out hope that maybe there's some semblance of hope here, that he's gotten into the championship run. And I believe the points are final here. So we're going to look at the official points here. It is a tie between Kevin Feemster and David Wright, 23-42 for both those drivers. Chris Fleming in 3rd with 23-41. So the top 3 in the championship separated by a single point. Colin McDonough 4th over Elris George. And then obviously Cody Pennell, Austin Mongold, Josh Gaiman, Brandon Fetterplace, and James Kerr. Those outside the top 5. Cody Pennell getting up to 6th place. The only one 6th through 10th that was present in this race. Ryan Pennell in 11th, Dale Murkowski in 12th, as they were going to be. Donald Ray moved up to 13th place there ahead of Matthew Kent. Bren Roberts up to the 18th spot, tied with Briley Wright. So I am just going to go ahead and verify just one moment here. Obviously, we're waiting to see what the official announcement will be. And it is official. On tiebreaker, 5 podiums to 2. Kevin Feemster is champion of Season 2 on tiebreaker. Absolutely wild stuff there. Tiebreaker for Kevin Feemster as champion. We'll talk to our top 3 here in a moment. We'll start with Donald Ray. A wild race all the way through to end out the season. Donald, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Do you got a copy?
I got you.
That was a fun race to watch. Obviously, a lot of green flag racing throughout, and it came down the tire strategy, and you had to hold off a very hungry 42 truck to make it happen. How was that race? Obviously, just walk us through that battle there, because it was a lot of fun just watching the race breathe out on its own.
Well, first off, it was a great race. Anytime you can go 100 laps and no cautions, I mean that's a telltale sign of the quality of drivers that are in the race. But no, I apologize to David there at the end. I had forgotten. I mean, I haven't been here in so many weeks. I think I've run maybe 3 races this season just because of life and work. But I apologize to David because I forgot he was running for a chip. Otherwise, I'd have not run him so hard and went to the top and 1 and 2. But hats off to Zach and Cody. Them guys were just in a different level. I felt like I could probably stay with Cody, but he was able to get out on me after every pit stop, and I could maintain pace with him. I just couldn't catch him.
It was
kind of waiting for him to go back into retirement.
It was obviously a lot of fun tonight here, and obviously you talk about your limited ability, your limited ability to run tonight. Words are escaping me tonight. With a lot of the changes that happened to this truck, really between seasons here for High Octane, how much do those changes play a factor into just how much you had to really wheel it around? Because all these trucks at one point looked really loose. Either they were loose early or they were loose late. Where did your truck fall in that? And how easy was it for you to try to get back on top of it there? Obviously, with everything around you, trying to chase 28 down, but also stay ahead and stay in that fight for the podium. Where was your truck sitting there especially at the end of that race, where it seemed like everyone was fighting something?
It was loose early on cold tires, but after that, as long as you were patient, you could run a good steady line and keep it under you. If you tried to overdrive it, you'd burn the right front pretty bad and it'd get super tight. I tried to maintain the right front as much as I could. Never really had a problem with the right rear, so loose wasn't an issue just because I knew it was going to be loose early in the run, so I just took care of it.
It was an absolutely a lot of fun here. Obviously, a lot of these races were fantastic with very little cautions throughout the entire season. Obviously, we get to see a little bit of downtime. Obviously, SNS comes back up here later this month. High Octane will kick back up next year. We get to kind of actually enjoy the off season now for the most part. But for you, for those that maybe don't follow everything all the time, what's up next for the 5 truck or the 5 car at this point, going into the holiday season in 2025?
Honestly, don't know yet. I've entertained putting my stuff up for sale, but every time I think about doing it, I decide that I still want to race. I just kind of make a decision when the time comes for the season. If the number's not available that I want, it don't matter. I'll run whatever. But I really don't know yet. Probably definitely run Saturday Night Showdown. Probably don't have time to run A Squared. Although I absolutely love that car. It's a strategy car. Trucks is just go get it, drive hard, and be better than everybody else.
It was a lot of fun watching you race here all throughout 2024. Hopefully we get to see you again very, very soon. Before we let you go, and obviously let you enjoy the holidays and some of the time off here that comes with being this late in the year, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, Donald, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the podium, ending off the season, and a fun battle to boot.
Thank you to everybody who runs these races and runs in this series, and well, all of A Squared. You know, there's a lot of good quality drivers in here, and it does make it fun to race when you're not getting wrecked out every other race. Shout out to you for putting these broadcasts on. I think this is your 3rd year doing it for A Squared.
Yeah, we're looking
something like that.
Yeah, it's our 5th year overall, and we've been doing this for 3 years for ARCS. So yeah,
we've been
ARCS,
for a while.
Yeah, for ARCS.
And Zach, man, congrats to him putting on a clinic tonight and showing everybody what they can aspire to be.
Absolutely, a fantastic run by Zach as well. We'll talk to him in a minute. But Donald, congratulations on your 3rd place tonight to end off the season, and hopefully to see you again very, very soon, whether it's an SNS or a few sporadic starts maybe in A Squared next year. But enjoy the holidays as well, Donald, and again, enjoy the podium.
All right, thank you.
That was Donald Ray, your 3rd place finisher tonight. We'll walk up the order here. We'll talk next to Cody Pennell. Podiums after podiums after podiums. A 2nd place tonight here for Cody Pennell. A fun battle to get through this. Cody, walk us through your race. Obviously, Zach Millett and his own little zip code, but that 28 car looked equally competitive when it was going through traffic early on too.
Yeah, it felt really good. The race was a lot of fun overall. You know, it's always fun when you can get out in kind of clean air like that and just try to come up with a plan to chase somebody down. And you said it best. Millett's just in his own zip code. I have raced with him only a handful of times, but every time I do, he's just way, way out front. So to even be in the conversation there at the end, I'm happy with that. And yeah, I think this kind of just sums up how this entire season has gone for me. If it's not Millett, it's Gaiman. So yeah, you know, really just trying to build up some confidence for the A Squared season next year. So I think I achieved my goal as far as that goes and had a lot of fun doing it. So shout out to, you know, you for broadcasting this season. That was a huge, huge thing for us. And shout out to Feem also for everything he did and also winning the championship. That's awesome for him. I know he really wanted it. And it came down to a tiebreaker, so doesn't get any better than that. Glad we could finish the season on a good note.
And obviously, you mentioned, you know, A Squared trying to build us some momentum, build up confidence going into the A Squared season. A lot's changing here. It was announced a little bit ago that you were stepping down as an admin at the end of the season for this series. Beyond 2024, obviously A Squared being a part of your plans, what all comes next year for that 28 crew? Going into 2025, as far as the changes, as far as like what you're going to be competing in?
Well, I think I'll probably compete in the HTL Double Barrel Challenge just to try and raise my rating up on the draft list for A Squared. It doesn't really matter. You know, there's a handful of guys that I'm pretty confident will either pick me 1st round or I'll be a quick 2nd round pick. So it doesn't really matter to me either way. But I would like to run that just to get some more experience, confidence in those cars. And then I've got the Tobacco Cup series. That's been a lot of fun on Tuesday nights. So I'll be running that until, you know, A Squared starts up and we'll try and go out and win that thing.
It's been a lot of fun, obviously, watching all season long. These trucks are absolutely magnificent to race in and just follow along with. Obviously, a lot of things coming up here for you as well, especially going into the winter. Before we let you go and let you celebrate some of that time off and get ready for those next adventures, especially with A Squared coming up here, the draft's in just a couple months' time. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to in particular, the floor is yours. You had a phenomenal race here. A little bit quiet once you got past the halfway point, but a phenomenal race and a phenomenal podium that ended off the season. So if there's anyone you want to say thank you to, the floor is yours.
Yep, huge shout out to Wildcat Creek Cattle for sponsoring the season. It was the first sponsored season I'd ever done, and I wish I could have got the championship, but I feel like we had a really strong showing. And, you know, like I said, it's all leading into A Squared where there'll be a sponsor on my car there. So we'll take all the momentum we can and move on. Thank you, Carmen.
Phenomenal job by Cody Pennell, 2nd place tonight and a phenomenal run to build up his momentum and his confidence going into the winter months here. We'll see him again on Monday for the HTL Hammer Down, for the HTL Double Barrel Challenge, and on Tuesday for the HTL Tobacco Cup. Both of those part of our partner in HTL. So a lot of fun there. We'll move on to the race winner. We got 2 more interviews to do tonight. We got one here with Zach Millett, the race winner, his first start of the season. And it's a dominant win, almost flag to flag as far as laps led there. Zach, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy.
Hey, Carmen, what's up?
Your laps led count keeps going up. That's what we'll start with that here. Walked in, no starts this season, last minute entry, and lights out and away you went. Obviously 100 laps, and you led 94 of them pretty easily there. Walk us through just sort of how you handle this, because as I mentioned to Cody Pennell earlier, you were in a completely different zip code. How confident were you in this truck tonight just to come in and just belt out lap after lap, consistently the fastest truck on the track?
I don't know. I was a little nervous coming in. I haven't raced the truck very much lately, and I know they've changed big time in the last few months. So I joined in. I don't know how much time was left, maybe about 10 minutes of practice. Got a few laps in, and just figured I'd just try to roll it and take care of the tires best I can and keep pace. And I don't know, once I was out in clean air, it just felt better. It just felt like I had that downforce up front, and it just, the old Octua Toyota was on rails. It seemed like it felt good.
Obviously, for those that aren't familiar with sort of your MO here, especially in ARCS, you show up, you win, repeat. And we saw it in the A Square Cup Series, where you had a lot of competition late in the season, but you came in guns a-blazing there. Obviously came in, one and done, grabbed that race win in the season in High Octane. We've seen you in ARX, both in the Xfinity car and elsewhere. Obviously, for ABN, we don't get to see you that much here on our screen. So obviously ending off this season, there's not a whole lot running to end off 2024. But what's coming up for you just as a driver going into 2025 that we can kind of keep an eye on you for? Is a full season run in the A Square Cup Series on the cards for you? And if not, what is?
Actually, yeah, that's my number one this season coming up is A Squared. I'm gonna try to start that right from the beginning and go right through it. And I'm looking forward to it. A Square was a lot of fun last year. I really only wish I got into it sooner. Really looking forward to it this year. And I was just telling Feemster, I usually run with a different group a couple nights a week, and they're changing their times, which affects me going. I go to work usually after these races, so I can't be running with those guys anymore, unfortunately. But hoping to do some more ARC stuff over here. It's a great group over here. I've been over here for a long time. It's like the schedule never lines up, but it's great to be over here. I love racing over here. Everybody over here is awesome. And yeah, hopefully we'll make this a more common thing.
That's our hope as well. It's always a lot of fun seeing you on track and seeing you race and seeing just how much talent we have here. We got introduced to you on ABN screens for the OAP Super Speedway Series as well, and we get to see you shine there too. So it's always fun seeing you here on ABN screens. You had a phenomenal drive tonight. Before we let you go and let you celebrate and obviously get ready for the holidays coming up here in just a few weeks' time, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours, Zach. Congratulations on a dominating win here in Miami, and a way to kick off and end the season in style.
Thank you. Yeah, big congrats first and foremost to Feemster. It's I've raced with him for years now, and it's really cool to be here the night that he gets his first championship. So big congrats to him, man. It's awesome to see him get it. Big thanks to you too, Carmen, ABN. It's always cool. Go back and watch the broadcast. Do an awesome job. Big thanks to Ryan, ARCS, and everybody, all the admins, everything they do to put this on for us. And then big thanks to Track Bar Media, Castle Products, HBR TV, and shoot me a follow over on Twitch. I sucked tonight. I didn't stream it, but I usually do. I try to do it. Usually it's your best races when you don't stream, it seems like. So, but yeah, that's it.
A phenomenal job, Zach. Enjoy the race win, and hopefully be able to see you again very soon for the A Squared draft in January. But enjoy it, and I know we'll be all looking forward to the A Squared season when it kicks back up.
Heck yeah, I can't wait.
That was Zach Millett, your race winner. We have one more interview, and it is none other than the champion himself, Kevin Feemster. Obviously, Ryan Fennell, a Season 1 champion in the High Octane Series. Kevin Feemster now gets to add his name to the list of champions. 9th place finish tonight. Tiebreaker. I think Kevin pointed out average finish was the tiebreaker that was used, but easily you can kind of point at the podium differences here. 5 podiums for Kevin Feemster, 2 seconds and 3 thirds, compared to the second and the third by David Wright. The big difference there in the season. Kevin Feemster winning on tiebreaker. We don't see this very often. First off, how you feeling finally becoming a champion here in the High Octane Series?
It was a rough night, Carmen. I had a terrible car. I didn't think I had it. I'm sitting there just trying to watch the standings, trying to do the math in my head. I'm like, I think I'm tied with David Wright right now. I don't know how all this is going to shake out, with how many podiums I have, how many podiums he had, average finish, if how many tiebreakers we was actually going to have along the way. But I'm excited. What a finish though. A tiebreaker for a championship? Come on, you can't have it much better than that.
Yeah, it was an absolutely wild time figuring out the tiebreaker in real time up here in the booth, obviously, because we had to go back. Like, okay, let's look at results here, because none of you had race wins. Like, that was the easy tiebreaker that we used. Okay, well, Josh Cayman's won half the season. That's not it. And then we was like, okay, let's go through podiums. We went through because it was you and Fleming that was tied for so long, because Fleming was just 2 positions up for you. Both of you had a rough night going into this race. It seemed like tire wear was a huge issue. We'll talk about that in a second. And then David Wright started really climbing up the board. There was a genuine moment in time where all 3 of you were tied, and it was like, okay, well, this is odd. And those 5 podiums, obviously, the 2 seconds and 3 thirds really helping you out in getting that tiebreaker there. You talk about tonight being a rough night. You spent a decent amount of it outside the top 10 and really on a hope and a prayer that something would go your way. That pit stop by Nick Pressey and tire issues for Bryn Roberts falls those things back in your favor. What made tonight so difficult for you? Because we don't usually see the 17 struggle like this, especially at a track like this. It's sort of almost bread and butter usually. What was so difficult about tonight here in Miami?
I have no idea, to be completely honest with you, because Homestead's one of my best tracks. I think I'm so used to running it during the day to where I can rip that wall, and I think trying to change my racing habits at a track like this and get back down to the bottom, I just wasn't comfortable. I was center off was terrible for me tonight, and I think that's where I chewed up my right front. Probably driving in a little too hard. It was just everything I tried didn't work. Yeah, when I seen Presley have that bad pit stop, I'm like, all right, how big of a gap can I get on him here? And I ended up getting 5 seconds. Like, I think I can hold that. And then Bryn took 2 tires. So at that last pit stop, and I was hoping he'd fall back, and he eventually did. So I got him, and then shout out to Donald Ray for holding off David Wright. Because if that wouldn't happen, I wouldn't be up in this booth right now. But it was just, yeah, like you said, these kind of tracks are using my bread and butter. And I just had an off night. I wasn't dialed in. I think I let nerves get to me a little bit. But now I've had a drink and I've calmed down a little bit. So it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be a fantastic night. A champion here in ARCS, obviously winning the High Octane Series on tiebreaker. First time in AVN we've seen an ARCS championship go down to tiebreaker here. A lot of things, obviously, a lot of time before we get to season 3 going into 2025. You get to sit and you get to actually enjoy the championship here, but we know we're going to see you elsewhere. We get to see you in HTL. We get to see you outside of ARCS as a whole and just a part of the wider community here. What is next for you other than enjoying the weekend and celebrating this championship in full and maybe cracking open 12 beers this weekend? What's up next? As many know, A Squared is starting to ramp up, so I've dove head first into that, being an admin in that series now over in ARCS. I'm really enjoying the 87 League, so I'll be running an HTL, so you'll see me on track there. We got the next Saturday we kick back off on the SNS. I'll be on track there. But for most part, I'm going to take most of the weeks off here, kind of
get ramped up. And then 2025 is probably going to be not so much of me on track. I'll be an A squared full time. Obviously High Octane will be coming back, but it's about time for me to start. I might start slowing down a little bit and start becoming more of a trying to help out with the leagues within. I'm not quite sure how much I'll race in 2025 next year besides High Octane and A squared, but you never know. I've said it before, and here I am racing 5 nights a week, so you never know.
I feel that. I keep saying I'm gonna wind down my schedule a bit, and I was like, oh, never mind. I'm streaming 7 days a week. Okay, that's interesting. Obviously, you get to enjoy the championship. I hope you have. I hope you take plenty of time to actually genuinely enjoy it. It's always a special moment, especially when it comes to a tiebreaker and all the stress that came with it tonight.
Yeah.
Before we let you go and let you actually celebrate and crack open all those beers, and I recommend having something, Taco Bell, White Castle, whatever, something to go with it. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours, Kevin. It was phenomenal watching all season long, and phenomenal having ABM be a part of being able to tell the story of the season. But if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the championship and a very well-earned season.
Thank you. Yeah. Who to thank? Everyone. From Cody helping me out to get this season started, from ARCS allowing me to put this series on, to you, ABN, for awesome broadcast all season long. It's been amazing. To all the drivers that ran a full season, that just popped in for a race or two. I love everyone. I love this community. I love everything that we have going on, especially within ARCS as a whole. And I love the direction that High Octane's going. We're going to ramp it up. Got some big changes hopefully coming for the next season. So I got to thank everyone. It's been awesome. All the drivers are having there made this a smooth season. No drama, no fighting. Hell, we had hardly any cautions all season long. It's been clean racing. It's been hard racing. I got to thank everyone. Everyone that's been a part of this, all the sponsors that jumped on with us this year has been awesome. So the list can go on and on. I'm probably missing some people, and I apologize for that. But yeah, champion, baby. It's a good night.
Absolutely a fantastic night here, Kevin. Enjoy the championship. Hopefully we get to see you again very soon. Obviously, to see you on Tuesday for the Tobacco Cup there in HTL. But enjoy the championship, and we'll be obviously seeing you again very soon for the draft as well in January.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carmen. I appreciate everything that you do.
It's absolutely a lot of fun here, Kevin. Enjoy it, and enjoy the beers that go with it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
That was Kevin Feemster, the champion here in the High Octane Series for ARCS. An absolutely outstanding drive, start to finish. What's not to like about all of this here in the High Octane Series? Obviously, the season comes to an absolute close here from Homestead-Miami. And we're glad you're with us here for all of it, for all 12 races. We'll pull up for the last time the full results here from Homestead-Miami for the ARCS Miami 240. As I have to update all this stuff again. So bear with me as I get this updated. We'll do this one more time. We're doing it live. So there you go. So from Homestead-Miami Speedway, it's the ARCS Miami 240. It's Zach Millett on top. Bryn Roberts pole position. Did not have the great run here that he was hoping for. Finished 11th. Cody Pennell second. Donald Ray in third. David Wright in fourth. Second in points on tiebreaker. Not where you want it to be. Bradley Wright top five over Dale Markowski, Thomas Andrews, Chris Fleming, who's finished. Ended up third in points. 1 point behind the tiebreaker. Kevin Feemster, champion on tiebreaker, 5 podiums to 2. Ryan Pennell ends off his season with a 10th place finish. Bryn Roberts 11th. Nick Pressey in 12th. Elris George finished ahead of Colin McDonough, 13th and 14th there, rounds out this field from Homestead-Miami Speedway. And it has been an absolute blast all season long. For everyone that enjoyed being a part of it with us, thank you so much for everything that you did. to be a part of this season. We have more racing to come here on ABN throughout the rest of 2024. Next Wednesday, we'll be live once again, the ABN Champ Car World Series, the Arrowhead 500 from Indianapolis on Wednesday. Next Friday, Kern Raceway, the ARCS Racing Experience, will be live again, 8:30 p.m. for that, 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Next Saturday, 7 a.m. Eastern, it is the Platinum Endurance Championship, 12 hours of Le Mans. We had to have a lot of fun once again, endurance racing in November. Keep an eye out November 16th, 2 Saturdays from now. It's ABN's 5-year anniversary celebration for ABN Studios. We'll be live here on ABN Studios and on Twitch for ABN Esports. It's going to be a lot of fun there as well. The off season doesn't mean that we're completely off season. We still have some business to settle here in November. On behalf of everyone here for ARCS, the High Octane Series, congratulations to Kevin Feemster and a job well done this season. We'll see you again on Wednesday for the ABN Champ Car World Series from Indianapolis. On behalf of everyone here, I'm Carmen, Sienna. Thank you all so much. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you at the Brickyard next week. So long, everybody.